How do we use knowledge in the organization? How can companies make sense and take benefit of the things that their employees know that they don't know that they know? And how can they use that to help employees feel more empowered with their job, have a better career, and at the same time also be more agile as organizations? If you think about it, the 20th century organization was very much like a castle, monolithic. All the work was done inside the castle. You had one way in and you had one way out. It was guarded, it was secure. In today's enterprise, everything is very fluid. Organizations have had to change the very nature of how they think about work. Today, work is more networked. It is remote, it's team and it's project-based, it's collaborative and it's delegated and it's more real-time. And that has required us to really change the way we think about how we manage work, how we leverage the knowledge in the organization. I love this concept from Steve Jobs. He says, design is not just about how something looks and feels. Design is about how something works. And as we think about architecting these experiences where we're curating the knowledge of the organization, we need to think about a couple of things like an architect. Who knows what? And who needs to know what in order to do their jobs? Organizations that operate as this skills-based construct, they're seeing results. They're more likely to be able to anticipate and effectively respond to changes in the market. Executives are saying, 8 and 10, that work is being increasingly performed across organizational boundaries. So this is already happening today, right? But if you think about it from the lens of the employee, it's not necessarily being promoted. Only 12% of workers say that they're able to customize their work based upon the things that they know or do really well. And only 14% of executives strongly agree that their employees are using the skills, the things that they know, to the best of their ability. So how much value is being left on the table from an organization's perspective? And what role does knowledge management tools have to play in this construct? So the first thing is that when you think about skills, we put skills at the center of the organization. We're no longer putting the job description at the center. Create this curation where my knowledge can be provided at a point of need and be valuable to some other user. And then we have to govern all this so that it doesn't become the wild, wild west. That once you put those skills at the center, then the next thing is it starts to change everything else on the outer side. This is where knowledge becomes the fabric and the framework and the interstitial connections that enable this all to hang together and to work together. Where does knowledge reside? And the challenge that we see is that our organizations are really complex. We have built multiple systems from content repositories to ERP systems, HRIS systems, CRMs, SharePoint sites, team sites, synchronous and asynchronous communication tools, and all this content is flowing around, all this knowledge is flowing around, and as an employee, it's really challenging. I don't know where to look. 40% of knowledge workers' time is spent on work about work, and that's about 1 trillion hours a year. That's a lot of wasted time and effort. And if content is king, then context is God. We start asking ourselves questions like, who are the people that I work with? What is the work that I do? Where do I work? The balance between the human need and the technical need then is at the center where the architect sits. We figure out not only how somebody's going to, or what they want in their house in terms of features and functions, but how they're going to live there, how they're going to live in that job, how we're going to help them be more productive and satisfied and purposeful in their work. And this is where we start to really think about driving that workforce experience and that customer experience and help use knowledge for the benefit of the organization.